Alright, welcome back to the lab again. Today we have, in response to some of the coverage we've been giving Cooler Master CM Storm mechanical keyboards, we have one of Thermaltake's TT eSports mechanical switch keyboards. This is the Meka G1. Says solid to conquer, but you know, hey, we'll figure that out when we take a look at it. I'm not exactly sure what that means. It is their mechanical keyboard. It has, according to the claims by Thermaltake, it's going to be 8 times quicker than a standard keyboard. It does have your 1000 hertz polling rate. That's through USB. If your USB port supports it, we do want to make sure you understand that. If you have an older board and the USB 2.0 controller you have does not support 1000 hertz polling rate, that is not going to do anything for you. It's still a great feature, and on 90% of your newer boards it's going to support it. You have 50 million keystrokes with the mechanical keys that are under here. You have 2 USB ports that are on the back. It says 2 USB hubs, but we imagine that means ports. And you also have audio jacks on the back of this, which is a kind of a nice feature. So let's flip it around to the back and take a look at what the back has to tell us. Alright, the back doesn't have a whole lot more, just tells you pretty much what you saw on the front. It does give details on what those mechanical switches are. So these are cherry black mechanical switches that have that 50,000 keystroke lifespan. Again, this is the Meka G1, and pretty much all you have on the back here is just a listing of everything that you're going to get and what the features are, just in about 15 different languages. So let's go ahead and flip this down, and let's take a look at the keyboard and what you get in the box. Alright, let's go ahead and get the box opened up here. Not really all that difficult. On the front, the top here, you're actually going to have a nice, some more marketing material. Even though you've already bought this, it's right inside the box. It's just a cover. It's going to show you the keyboard and give you some more information on the advanced features. You have your multimedia keys to control, USB ports, of course your gold-plated, gold-plated connector, military-grade cable. Not sure what that means, but we'll take a look at it once we get to it. And then, of course, system requirements and what the package has inside of it. Here is going to be your folder. It's going to have all the stuff that comes with the keyboard. You're going to get a nice little booklet, which is going to talk about your warranty policy. You have a manual, which is going to cover what the keyboard can do, as well as some other information on the keyboard. And that's pretty much it, even though it is kind of a nice booklet that you get there. Now let's take a look at the actual keyboard itself. Let's get this pulled out. And here we're actually seeing for the first time what they mean by military grade cable. You can see that cable there, which we will talk about in just a minute. Alright, let's take a look at the keyboard itself. Taking a look at the keyboard, you can see it's got a nice, it's got that deeper set keyboard function, kind of like the older style AT keyboards. But that's actually going to come in handy. The keys feel very nice. They feel very similar to the ones that we have on the Cooler Master trigger, as well as the Quickfire Pro, but these are going to be Cherry MX Black instead of being the Cherry MX Brown that we see there, but they're going to have a very similar function. In fact, we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab our key puller and see if we can pull one of these keys off for you. Alright, so we got our key puller here. Let's see what we can see underneath. Alright, there you go. You can see it's going to be the same Cherry style switch. It's going to have the same style connector, and it's pretty easy just to put that right back on. We'll take it off of here, and we'll just go ahead and push it straight back down. Now, one of the questions that we got most often with the Cooler Master keyboards is exactly what kind of support is used under your keys, like your enter key. So we're going to go ahead and lift this one up and see if we can show you very briefly here. The supports that are under here, I'll get that one back on. It might be easier to show you on the key here. The supports are not that amazing. And what they usually are, go ahead and lift this up so we can show you. This one's actually going to be plastic supports that are going to be on the ends, if you can see that right under there. And then there's going to be a metal piece that's going to act like a crossbar to hold up both sides of the space bar there for you. This is going to allow this to be supported all the way across when you have the actual switch is going to be in the center there. And you can see that also on the shift key, which we'll pull here. See if you can see that under there. Yeah, it's very difficult to see these, and I can tell you from experience, once we get that off, it's difficult to get it back on. But we will pull one of those off and see if we can get good photographs of that for you, so you can see exactly what kind of support system they have under there. So this is going back to the cable. This is the military style cable. It's very thick, but it has more than just USB going through it, as you can see here. You actually have 2 USB cables that's going to provide keyboard that's going to provide power for the USB hub, as well as your audio connectors that are going to run directly into your audio sources, and they're going to allow you to use the USB ports as well as the audio ports that are on the back here. This keyboard is very heavy, just like many of the other mechanical keyboards. It's meant to sit on your desk and not get pushed around if you're hitting the space bar. I don't know how many keyboards we have that we can't say that about. We'll sit there, and when we're tapping the space bar, or we're hitting the enter key, or we're moving, we're pushing it across the desk, and you can tell it's moving because we have to stop occasionally and go ahead and move it back to where it's supposed to be. It's got a very firm stance. As with most keyboard, it does have the feet that you can pop out. However, when you do that, we will say that you can tell it's not as stable. So our recommendation would be to leave it on its feet, these big rubber pads here. Unlike some of the other keyboards that we've seen, these do not have any rubber on them, so they're not going to give you the same grip as if you just left the keyboard down. Thermaltake also provides you with a wrist rest. This one clips on just like most. In fact, it's actually a little bit easier than most. And just clips on and gives you a little bit more support and extends the keyboard out so you can sit your wrist on it. Alright, one additional thing we want to talk about before we wrap up our coverage of the mechanical design of this board is that, like most of your mechanical gaming keyboards, there's going to be a function in here called in-key rollover. That means that you can push a certain number of keys, and you're not going to have them fight. It's not going to overload the keyboard. Unlike some of the newer models that we've seen, this one doesn't support in-key rollover over USB, which is unfortunate. In order to get that full in-key rollover, you are going to have to use the PS2 adapter here to plug this into your board, which is kind of important, and also why we've been noticing that on a lot of newer motherboards where you would expect to see USB only, we're seeing that PS2 port come back into play. Again, you can get full in-key rollover as long as you have this PS2 connector here plugged in, and you plug that into the back of your system. So that covers the mechanical layout and the mechanical build of the Thermaltake TT eSports Meka G1. And we're going to go ahead and get it connected to our gaming machine, and we're going to see exactly how well it performs and what it does for our gaming. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and give the like button some love. Be sure to share this with your friends, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with the news and reviews we have for you.